Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So I have a huge update to share on one of Trump's terrorists. That means it's time for a Plants and Politics episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
All right, guys, so you're going to remember this man, or I think you will, at least. Graydon Young is the person who I have an update on. He is a 55-year-old Army and Navy Reserve veteran. He's from Florida, and he's a member of the far-right extremist group called the Oath Keepers. He's also one of over a dozen members that, these self-proclaimed militia members who has been charged with conspiracy. He was hit with other crimes too, but the conspiracy was pretty significant. So these people are accused of plotting ahead of January 6th, ahead of that domestic terrorist attack, to stop the certification of Joe Biden's electoral college votes. Of course, many people went there to do that, but these people are accused of actually colluding and conspiring together and coming up with a plan to thwart the counting of those votes. Now, in addition, there's a ton of evidence, including their own messages and their own words, because they had online planning meetings on GoToMeeting. So their own words confirm that they had a hotel just across the river. And in that hotel, they had a room that was filled with people and weapons. And they planned to call on that team to transport those weapons to the Capitol so that they could fight and take over. This was their QRF, as it's referred to. It's a quick reaction force. And Young showed a consciousness of guilt because he deleted his Facebook account after January 6th, probably because he was posting things like preparing for battle. Also, he posted, I think it was either on January 6th or after January 6th, and said literally that they, quote, stormed and got inside. Kind of damning evidence. And it also discredits the BS talking points from the right about how these people were just tourists and, they were just taking a stroll through the Capitol, or how the cops willingly let them in. No, not when they're literally saying we stormed and got in. That's kind of admitting, we didn't just stroll right through the open doors. So Young was facing some very serious jail time. He was hit with almost a half dozen charges, and all combined, they carried a penalty of up to 56 years in prison, plus hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. Well, he has just taken a plea deal. This seems to be in the air right now. A lot of plea deals going on. He has agreed to cooperate with the prosecutors too. Now, this makes Young the second oath keeper to plead guilty, but he's the first one that's part of the group that's been hit with this conspiracy charge. So the other one was John, I forget his last name, but he was in a band and he was in the building, but he wasn't charged with conspiracy. So this is huge news because he could roll on some very prominent people. So here's the deal. Young pleaded guilty to 2 charges of conspiracy and obstruction of an official proceeding. Those 2 charges alone come with a maximum penalty of up to 25 years in prison. It's pretty significant, too, and telling that those were the 2 charges out of all of them with which he was required to plead guilty. So, just like the sentencing that took place yesterday that I told you guys about, this is going to set a precedent. This tells every other person who's charged with conspiracy that charge isn't going away. That's it. This is what we require. And it also makes it nearly impossible for these other people to try to argue that they didn't take part in a conspiracy. I mean, one of their own group, one of their members is saying, yeah, I did it. I plead guilty. I'm guilty of conspiracy. Now, having said that, don't expect Young or any of these other people to spend anywhere near 25 years behind bars, because the sentencing guidelines are typically much lower. And the judge in this case has already said that the sentencing guidelines that he estimates will put Young behind bars for less than 7 years. Now, that could change. That is subject to change. It depends on how much or how little he cooperates with the prosecutors. You know, if he can give up a bigger fish, it's going to help him a lot. Of course, they likely, you know, these prosecutors want to take down Rhodes, the leader of the organization, the leader of the Oath Keepers and the founder of the group. But I'm thinking they probably have their sights set even higher, you know, with maybe people like Roger Stone, maybe even some members of Congress. Because remember, the Oath Keepers, we now know, there's reporting out there and there's photos to back it up. They were asked and did provide security for Roger Stone and members of Congress, not just on January 6th, but also at events that preceded January 6th, also at other events, at previous events. So there's no telling what they may have overheard or what they know. And, you know, one of the Oath Keepers admitted in messages that their group was collaborating and conspiring with the Proud Bigots, as I call them, otherwise known as the Proud Boys. You know, so who knows what they know about their organization or their involvement on January 6th. Now, the problem with Young is that he was kind of new to the group. There was an email, I believe it was maybe a week before January 6th, if my memory serves me, that he sent to Kelly Meggs asking to get up and running and get his application approved to take part in January 6th. So what they really need is to flip someone who's been around for a while, but they could be working their way up the food chain. You know, Young could give up someone higher up than him. Potentially that person, you know, has charges added to their list. And maybe that is the incentive for that person to give up someone even higher up, you know, a major figure like Stone or something like that. Then again, I do question it, because they're not going to give this guy a plea deal unless he has something substantial, unless he has some useful information. So we'll see. It could shake out in many ways, but I'll keep you guys posted. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.